How do you feel about BJ being your first opponent in the UFC? Again.
I wouldn't have picked that first opponent. That's I don't feel good about it. I mean, it's not. I would have been happy with a different fight and not fighting somebody that I'm so acquainted with.
Nick, you fought in big fights in Strikeforce, but a lot less media and a lot less obligations leading up to fight week. Do you enjoy that a little more, just sort of flying under the radar until the fight actually happens?
I didn't know I was flying. Nobody comes to see me, or people always tell me I'm avoiding press, or this is fine, or this, it's fine. I don't have a problem with this. This is nobody's coming and trying to get a. Sometimes people try to call and get me an interview on a phone or something. That's really random too, though. I don't get much of anything like that. So it's not me avoiding. I'm not trying to fly under the radar. I don't mind coming out and promoting my team, talking about my team, and talking about my brother, and talk about how great everybody is and how good everybody's doing. Jake Shields and Gilbert Melendez and Daniel Roberts. These guys are, they mean the world to me. And if I can come out and talk about how much excellent fighters they are and how good a training we get together and just all this stuff, and how we have the best camp and the best technique and the best jiu-jitsu. And, I want to come out and I want to say that. I want to do that. So, it's hard when people are always telling me I'm trying to fly under the radar and avoid the press. It's not like I have people knocking on my door or anything like that for interviews.
Just to be clear, I wasn't saying you were trying to fly under. I was saying those events didn't get as much attention, so you didn't have to deal with that stuff. I wasn't saying you were avoiding. Okay. The Strikeforce events weren't as big as the UFC events. You didn't see things like this leading up to Strikeforce events. That's what I meant.
I don't really know what you mean. So
it's fine. Stupid question. Just trying to break the ice.
Well, I will say this, Nick. I think some people thought you didn't like to do this kind of thing, and maybe that's why you didn't get asked as much.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're interested, really. I don't think. Well, it's not that they're interested. It's not that they're not interested. I'm not running around, waiting to do some extra credit work. I train hard in the gym, and nobody wants to come out to Stockton, California. It's not a bad place, really. Half of it's kind of on the harsh side, and I try to stick to my side, and then.
I was here for your fight with Frank.
Yeah, it's nice. So it's not too bad over there, and that's kind of it's downtown there where the fight was. But you know what I mean? It's not much going on out there, so people don't really want to come out there. I like it because that's where I grew up, and then it's an hour from everything. I could drive to Sacramento, and I can get up into the mountains, real convenient, and then I can get to San Francisco and train with Shields and Gilbert and everybody. And I don't mind the hour drive after I've been doing it all this time. It's kind of like time to relax and think about everything. And so yeah, I'm an hour from everything, and people call me to train and coordinate training, and I go. I get it, hop on the wagon and take whoever's going with me, and we go.
Considering all that's gone on into this fight, and the fact that you said you weren't all that excited to fight BJ because you looked up to him, will a part of you almost be relieved when this whole experience is over, when you could put 137 behind you?
I don't know. Yeah, sure. I wasn't not happy about fighting BJ Penn, but really, it's what I don't really have any comment on that.
He says you've got the best boxing in the game, pretty much.
Yeah, I've sparred with him before. He's fought the best there is, so he would know.
If you could elaborate, I remember on the conference call you said that you think technically he's a better fighter than GSP. Could you elaborate on that?
Well, he's a real black belt in jiu-jitsu, and not that George isn't a real black belt, but BJ's a really good at jiu-jitsu. I believe it's because he came originally from Ralph Gracie and Cesar Gracie. I know he made his debut the same day as my partner Steve Heath and David Terrell. I actually had that video on VHS when I was a kid. I used to watch it, so I saw BJ Penn fight before anybody. And that's because he comes from where I come from, and I believe that's why he's as good as he is. And so yeah, he has 4 years experience on me, and he's much more technical fighter than George, I would say, because it's just I know who he's had to work with, and I know who's BJ's had to work with, and sometimes it's more about who he started out with too.
What kind of performance do you need on Saturday night to convince Dana and Joe Silva that you should bypass Carlos Khan to get that title shot versus George?
You know what? I don't think about anything like that. I just whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I'm not going to have any comment on that.
Nick, do you believe in things like fate and things like that? Because if you were supposed to fight GSP, he got injured, you would have been left without an opponent. And all this happens, now you're fighting BJ in the main event. It's kind of funny the way things turn out. Do you think about that stuff?
No, I don't really, I base all my faith in technique and mixed martial arts, in the training. I don't get all, all like, you see people get all, and they do the whole thing, and I'm like, you probably wouldn't have to act like that or fake like that or whatever if you did what you're supposed to do. So, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Can you talk about the Nick Diaz first turnaround in the UFC, which is the second time, the Nick Diaz version 2.0 for those fans that haven't seen you compete in Strikeforce and other organizations? What can they expect on Saturday night from the first time they saw you?
Can you say it one more time?
Basically, the evolution of your game from the last time fans saw you in the octagon to you coming back now, and now you're in the main event. What can they expect? What's the difference?
Well, I'm getting older. I'm working harder, and I'm always improving. So that's the difference. It's a big difference.
How important is your brother to the support system to getting through all the media and stuff?
My brother's the most important thing to me. Probably more important, more important than anything. A lot of the time, it's why I have to push forward and do so good, because I can't, there'd been a lot less pressure on me if I didn't have a younger brother. I'm happy I do. I'm happy I do have a younger brother. I have a great younger brother and training partner, and I'm really grateful and thankful for that.
I know you've been swimming and doing the other kind of activities that you do for your triathlons. Is that something you're still pursuing?
Sure, yeah, I do that year-round. It's not like I try to go pro or anything with that. I just, I do the best I can. I always excel in that, just as I do in mixed martial arts. And I think I do well because in triathlon it's the swim, bike, and run. Just like here, it's mixed martial arts, And I do better. I do better like that. But yeah, I've been racing Xterra a lot, mountain biking a lot. I do, it's year-round, so. It's nice, and it helps me get real altitude. People try to get some altitude training, or they go somewhere and have a camp somewhere. It's kind of hard to set up a whole, I just train where I train, and then maybe I'll go spend a couple days and get some good rides in up in the mountains, and get some good runs in up there. And then I've been swimming at Heather Farms in Walnut Creek's really champion swim team there, and I got records, all over the wall. I got all these good swimmers I've been swimming with lately, so. I've been getting some really good swimming, and I'm always improving on my fitness, and a lot of that's where a lot of my base comes from. My background is swimming and running, and my grandfather, Coach Don Womble, who's a track coach, Lodi High. I used to get suspended from school. I get in a fight. I wasn't. It's not that I got moved around a lot of schools when I was a kid, so I had a hard time catching up, and I just had a little bit rough when I was younger, so I'd get suspended and sent home, and then I'd have to go back and work, and then after that I'd have to go run track. So he'd be off the track at 2 o'clock, then I'd have to go with him and run. So that happened to me quite a bit.
Well, I ask because people do argue that your endurance is what's possibly going to make a difference in this fight. If it goes longer, that it's advantageous for you.
Yeah, I've always been, running. I've always been in runs and doing 10Ks and since I was, second grade. So yeah, I'm more of an endurance athlete than these guys, and usually I tend to wear on people in the later rounds. But this is a 3-round fight, and it's really not a lot of time to work with. So a lot of it's going to be about, speed and technique and strength in
Hey
3
guys.
rounds.
Just real quickly, this is Nick's availability for video interviews, so I do ask that you get your questions in at this time.
Nick, have you noticed how much more popular you've gotten over the past few months? Like last week on Twitter, you were one of the top 10 trending topics. I don't know if you even know what that means, but it means that you are being discussed, you along with 9 other topics, more so than anyone in the United States, which is a huge deal. Have you noticed that things have changed for you in terms of your popularity in the last few months?
No, that's why I live in Stockton. Like I was saying, that's kind of some of the perks about living in Stockton. Nobody, even if people do know who you are, they're not going to say anything. They're going to act, like, oh, well, I don't care who he is. So, it's good for me. It keeps me, training right and not all, not, I don't really get into the whole everybody paying attention to you thing because most of the time I don't get recognized when I'm in town.
After your fight in January, you talked a lot about wanting to box. Obviously, that's not on the table right now, but is that still something that you'd like to do at some point?
As far as I know, that that whole deal's wiped out. Like I'm on some sort of a new contract that keeps me from doing that. As far as I know, I don't ask too much questions. I don't want to stress out over that. I have to stress out over about my condition I'm in leading up to the fight, and the more I can just kind of put out, not think about and put out of my head, and I just focus on training. I just tend to do best like that, and that's been worked for me for a long time. So I'm really like I think that you don't want to change what works. I believe that is a good thing to stand by in MMA. Is keep what works.
You kind of touched on this before, saying that not too many people are coming to you looking for interviews, but do you think that you're misunderstood or misrepresented at all as a fighter?
Yeah, sure, misrepresented. Yeah, I'm the only one doing racing triathlon, making times, and improving times and improving fitness levels significantly, and no one's paying attention to it. They always want to see somebody hit a tire with a hammer over. I get hit a tire with a hammer over and over again. No one's going to know how hard I'm working, or it's not. It's hard to. Sometimes I feel like it's a lot of wasted energy that could be put towards something that you're going to excel in. And then once you excel in, you're going to get better at hitting the tire, and then a couple years down the road, you're the best tire swing hitter and sled dragger. So I think a little bit of that. A little bit of that stuff's good, but too much of it can be a waste of time. You have a lot of coaches that want to be the coach and they want to tell you what's good because they've been in fitness for so long. But sometimes it's best to listen to yourself. If you're the mixed martial artist and they're putting you on the top, then this sport hasn't been around forever. So there's only so many people that you can trust and listen to. And a lot of the time, for most people, definitely for George's sake. He's gonna have to listen to himself. And
what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, like I've been around a lot of coaches and fighters. Like Valery Ignatov was one of my trainers, a sambo champion, and he's from Bulgaria, and he's been one of my coaches on the side, my sambo coach since I was 16 years old. And this has a lot to do with why I'm a lot different with submission and grappling than a lot of other jiu-jitsu guys, and so I've been taught both sides of things, and I've had good coaches, Steve Heath, and just people who have been in this for a long time. Started out with Gil Castillo. George came from Canada, and I don't feel like there was a lot of fighters that were coming out of Canada back then that were doing anything, and so I feel like I come from more of a martial arts background, and I have a lot more people that were into mixed martial arts that I was studying with when I got into this sport.
Is that the fight that fuels you? In other words, is that what drives you to keep going to get that fight? Because you've been talking about fighting him for a long time.
If you fight for the title, you make a lot of money. And if you win the title, you make a lot of money just holding that thing. It's like people are throwing money at you everywhere you go. I don't have that. I can't stop fighting right now. if I wanted to. I need to make some money. And I don't spend a lot of money. I spend money on training, but I gotta work hard and get paid, just like everybody goes to work, every day. And it's hard times. Nobody likes their. People are like, "Oh, you love this sport?" It's a job,
So there's nothing fun about it for you?
It's fun being. I train. I work with my team, and I have a great time with them. And I have a lot of fun, But at the same time, when it really comes down to it, I could be doing the same thing and not doing it for money. The money takes the fun out of it, It's fun. I love jiu-jitsu. I love boxing. I love practicing and training. And but fighting for money, against people, that's it's not, it's not my favorite.
Have you put a cap as to how many more years you want to do this for?
No, I don't. I really don't. I really don't know. This could be my last fight. The last fight could have been my last fight. That's I feel like that every fight. This could be my last fight. So you never know. I mean, I don't need this. It doesn't have to stay this way. I've had a great time. I feel like I had a great career. I took 3 Strikeforce belts. That's good enough for me. Now I'm just I'm here to I'm here to do what I'm told, pretty much. I'm here to do what my coach tells me. He really he wants me to do this fight. He talked me into taking this fight, and Dana White and Caesar, and they want me here, so I'm here.
Was the resistance because it was BJ and because you know him, or was the resistance?
I fight my friends, and I don't fight people I know, and that's just kind of a rule I have. I don't care about the money, and he signed a fight first, and that's all. I would never sign a fight first. I don't care how much money you put in front of me. I don't care if you put millions and millions of dollars and you say whatever you want. You can't do it, man. You know what I mean? If he signs 2 or signs first, then yeah. But it's just a rule of mine.
Did you guys have a conversation about that then? You and BJ?
No, he sent me a message, said, sorry about the position you're in. You really got fucked. And I just, that's that,
Do you understand in some way why the UFC made that decision? Or do you still not get it? Or do you think it was unfair?
No, they do what they like. I mean, I suppose. I don't know. I'm grateful to have a job and to be getting paid, especially for this fight. It's what it is.
Nick, 2 more, guys.
We enjoyed watching you and your brother sparring today. And I wanted to know if you are done training or if you are visiting any of the gyms while you're out here. What's the rest of your week like?
I'll probably get some light workouts in for the rest of the week, and I don't have to do anything too extreme. I did all my training hard and at home, and now I'm here to just, kind of acclimate to the weather out here. It's a little dry. It takes me a day or 2 to get used to it, and then, get a few light runs in and some shadow boxing and some jiu-jitsu. And I don't know if we'll do that here or I just kind of go with the flow. I don't know where, we might go to someone's gym or I haven't been invited anywhere since I've been here. So right now, our only options is the workout mats that they have set up at the Mandalay. And so just go with the flow.
I think there are a lot of people who have been anxiously waiting for this week because this is the first time that they're going to get a chance to see and hear from you. And throughout the whole craziness of a couple months ago, there were a lot of your fans who were backing you up very strongly and said that the UFC wronged you. Is there anything that you'd like to say to those people who have stood by you?
Yeah, thank you for standing by me, and I'm going to go out and do my best I can. Don't hate BJ Penn. It's just this isn't like a normal fight for me. It's just it's more of a sporting competition this time around. So I don't know. I hope nobody's too disappointed if it doesn't go the same as it always does.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.